Hello everyone. Today we would like to talk about the economic factors and other factors that cause appreciation or depreciation of USD currency against AUD currency. So this is our outline of the factors. So first we are going to talk about the inflation rate, and then the next one is interest rate, and then the next one is economic growth rate, exchange rate expectation, commodity price, and the last one is reference.
So this is a historical chart of USD against the AUD. According to the chart, the AUD against the USD has reached all-time high of 1.1 in July of 2011, a record of low of 0.48 in April of 2001. Inflation rate. Inflation rate is closely related to interest rate, which can influence exchange rates. Countries attempt to balance interest rate and inflation, but the interrelationship between the two is complex and often difficult to manage. Here is the graph of Australian inflation rate forecast for the next 3 to 6 months. It is more likely to reach 2.4%. And this is the graph of USA inflation rate. And as you can see, it's more likely to reach 2.7%. An increase of inflation rate in USA will cause less demand of export due to price rise in local goods and service, which result in Australians prefer to purchase own goods and service, so there will be less demand for USD. As opposite, there will be more demand in import because consumers are more willing to buy goods and service from Australia, so there will be more supply in USD. In the graph, the supply curve moves to the right and the demand curve moves to the left, which results in an exchange rate decrease. This will lead to the depreciation of USD to AUD.
So next, we are going to talk about the Australia and USA interest rate. As you can see, the graph shows us the inflation rate in USA and Australia. In the past 10 years, Australia's interest rate is always higher than USA, but for the year 2018 forecast, that the USA interest rate is going to higher than Australia, which is around 2.2%, and Australia interest rate is going to be 1.5%. So what will happen next? An increase in interest rate in USA will have the following effect. This will encourage capital inflow because overseas investors such as Australia willing to place their fund in USA to earn a higher return from the investment. This will increase the demand for the USD. In contrast, this will discourage capital outflow because the local investor prefer to place their fund in their own country rather than Australia to earn a higher return. This will decrease the supply for the USD. So look at this graph. The supply curve moves to the left and then the demand curve moves to the right. This will cause the exchange rate increase from ER1 to ER2 and lead to an appreciation of USD currency against AUD currency. Here's come the alternative view of relative interest rate. This is the difference between nominal interest rate and real interest rate. Nominal interest rate is the interest rate with the effect of inflation. And then the real interest rate is the rate that the investor and the borrower use to in their real life. So real interest rates are usually constant in all the countries. So the increase of interest rate is mainly because of the increase of inflation rate. So this will lead to the depreciation of USD against AUD.
Followed part is relative economic growth rate. As we all know, usually a high GDP increase always leads to the increase of national exchange rate. Because if GDP of the country has increased, which means national income increase and raising the spending power. In this case, the country's central bank will have the possibility of raising interest rate and tiring the money supply. The country's economic performance always raising the interest rate will increase the country's currency attractive. So, according to the US GDP growth rate, In following 3 to 6 months, USD exchange rate will be increased. At the same time, Australia currency is relatively stable but with small fluctuations. And the two efforts of relative economic growth rate is firstly increase the demand for import while increase the supply of the USD and shift the supply curve to the right. Secondly, increase the level of overseas borrowing, such as to financing increased investment, while increase the demand for the USD and shift the demand curve to the right. According to the chart, increase in both supply and demand will cause the quantity of USD become more from Q1 to Q2, but the exchange rate may stay at the same level.
As the recall from trading economy, the exchange rate expectation of USD against the AUD will be increased. As you can see from the data, current exchange rate of USD against AUD is 1.28, and it is expected to keep increasing to 1.32 and even higher to 1.35 in the next 6 months. If USD against AUD is expected to appreciate, investors will buy the currency.
So last, we are going to talk about the commodity price in Australia. This is the data come from the Industry Government Australia. Australia is one of the major exporter of commodities. Here is the forecast from 2018 to 2019, show us that the commodity price in Australia will decrease. This will decrease the Australia export value, cause the currency of USD appreciate against AUD. So here is our conclusion. The conclusion is most of the economic factors and other factors that we use in this analysis show us that the USD currency will appreciate against AUD. So last is our reference, and that's all for our presentation. Thank you.